So I'm Diann Bates from Creative Fruition, a marketing and communications studio based in Vic Park. I started this business 15 years ago, and we have an amazing array of clients that we do an amazing array of work for. And newsletters have historically been the foundation of any business's marketing strategy, and whether that be internal letters for businesses like BHP Billiton that have to engage with staff, or whether it's going to internal stakeholders that might be existing clients or prospective clients. So what I want to sort of summarise to begin with is what is the purpose of a newsletter. And what I see the purpose of it is a way of having continuous contact with existing and prospective clients, and a way of engaging with them. But more importantly, I think where a lot of businesses go wrong is not focusing on it being cost effective. And like any marketing strategy you put out, whether it be social media, your website, or whatever that is, it's very take caution in understanding what your return on investment is on using such a device.
So how do you do that?
So first of all, planning on anything that you do in businesses is always a good stage. You need to make sure that your newsletter is going to be relevant and engaging to your target audience. And you need to position yourself as the experts in your field. Ultimately, you want people to read this communication and know that you're the go-to people. So I've just got a list of a few what I think are the key points to bear in mind when for a successful newsletter. Number one is consistency is king. All too often people will start a newsletter, they do one, 3 months later they do another one, 9 months later they do another one. Make a commitment to you doing it fortnightly, monthly, because that reflects on your business as well as being reliable. The other thing is ultimately the content is very critical to your newsletter. I've just got 9 little things that you might like to include in your newsletter. Education about your product or solution, how you solve problems, but take caution in not going me in your newsletter. Really focus it back on how you're solving and what your solution is, rather than we've been in business 25 years, we really think we're fantastic, here's our managing director in his car. Case studies and reassurance are exceptionally valuable in a newsletter, and testimonials following it through. Let your happy clients do the talk for you. Less is more. If you've got lengthy documents, you might consider linking those back to your website where they can read further information.
Can't be bothered with too much information.
Exactly. So give some bite-sized lead chunks, and then maybe if somebody's really fascinated by what you've got to talk about, lead them through to a further story. Engage a professional copywriter. They're professional copywriters for a reason, and they're going to keep your audience engaged. Another little tip I've got is you'll find often in business you get people regularly asking you the same question. How do you invoice, or how does this product work? Those are a really great segue to include in your newsletter to help educate your customers. And always include multiple calls to action. Ultimately, it's a sales tool, so you want to have multiple, call us now for Hypeful of this, to get out other fact sheet, etc. The design's really important. You need to make sure it's really reinforcing your brand, and because before you get to that point, you've got to make sure you've got a rock solid brand to start with. Poor design's going to reflect badly on you. Make sure that you break up text with images. Don't make it too text heavy. And a picture says 1,000 words, of course, and having great graphics. Be mindful of using stock photography. I highly recommend the investment of a professional photography around your business.
It's amazing you mentioned the images as well, because sometimes you can hyperlink those images back, and the number of times people actually click on the image, for what reason I don't know, but they do click it, and then you can put that back to a website.
So that's a nice segue into thank you, whether you go with a printed newsletter these days or whether you have a HTML newsletter. So I've done some research, and print statistically actually has a higher return on investment than does HTML emails. But of course HTML emails are virtually free to send, but they have a lower read rate than a hard copy does. And we were just discussing prior how all too often you don't receive any hard copy material on your desk these days, whereas you'll receive thousands of emails. I have an inbox that says read sometime soon, went in there was 1,000 emails, I just picked them all up and went delete. But my desk in my office is void of information, and I as a business owner have plenty of opportunity to promote to me. So that's something to think about. A little bit more investment, but you're likely to have a higher read rate, 40% more. And the next thing is talking about distribution lists. So ultimately you've got to send this out to someone. I highly recommend investing in a good CRM to manage all of this. You can buy lists, but of course please be careful about sending unsolicited email out and offending the people you're actually sending it to.
Would you break that distribution list up with your clients?
Yeah,
or
and of
client
course,
A,
another thing I might do is actually have 2 newsletters. One might be for existing clients and one might be for prospective clients, and the messaging might be slightly different between those, but a good CRM will allow you to position that. Offering prizes and incentives for signing up, and again tie all of that back into your social media, which we were just talking about. Don't just pigeonhole it in one thing.